Hey guys, today we are going to look at the gross and microscopic structure of the kidney. In this session, we will discuss the function of the urinary system. The gross structure of the kidney will also be discussed, and we will see the different components of the nephron, then their basic functions, and finally, we will see the structure of the conducting elements of the urinary system, like the ureters. So, begin with, now we discuss the function of the kidney and urinary tract. The general function of the kidney is to remove toxins from the bloodstream and to conserve water, salt, proteins, and other essential substances. So, the kidney maintains water and electrolyte homeostasis, body fluid osmolarity, and acid-base balance. It excretes toxic metabolic waste products, mainly urea and creatinine. It also acts as an endocrine gland, produces renin and erythropoietin. So the urinary tract accomplishes the first two functions by producing, storing, and weighing of urine. So now we see the gross structure of the kidney. Kidney is a bean-shaped organ located in the upper retroperitoneal area, and the organ is covered by a thin but strong capsule of dense collagen fibers. The capsule covering this kidney is thin but it's strong, composed of dense collagen fibers. And there is also a structure called hilum, which is a deep vertical slit through which renal vessels, lymphatics, and nerves, all structures that leave and enter the substance of kidney, pass through this hilum. So as we go toward the kidney from ureter, we find renal pelvis, then major calyces, then minor calyces. The kidney has a cortex and a medulla, and the medulla is further divided into layers. The medulla is divided into medullary primaries, normally from 10 up to 18 in number per kidney, but sometimes can be 8. And the apexes of these primaries point toward the hilum, and this point is called papilla. This papilla end on the minor calyces, followed by the major calyces and pelvis. Our kidney extends from approximately vertebra 12 superiorly to thoracic vertebra 12 up to lumbar vertebra 3 inferiorly, and the right kidney is somewhat lower than the left because of its relation with the liver. So even though the two kidneys are similar size and shape, the left kidney is longer and more central organ than the right kidney. It's also nearer to the midline. Internally, the hilum of the kidney is continuous with the renal sinus, and the cortex is a continuous band of pale tissue that completely surrounds the renal medulla. This renal cortex extends into the inner aspect of the kidney, and that projections are known as renal columns. These renal columns divide the renal medulla into discontinuous aggregations of different triangular shaped tissue that we already called pyramids. And the minor calyces receive urine from the collecting duct and represent the proximal parts of the tube that will eventually form the ureter. In the renal sinus, several minor calyces unite to form a major calyx, and when two or more major calyces unite, they form renal pelvis, and this renal pelvis is the funnel-shaped superior end of the ureters. So here we can see the internal structure of the kidney. As we already said, this is the capsule covering the organ, and this is the cortex that's divided by these renal columns into primaries, and then we have this pelvis, the ureter, and renal artery and vein. This also represents the vascular supply to the kidney. The kidney is supplied by the renal artery, which arises from abdominal aorta at the level of L1 and divides into different segmental arteries that are then divided into interlobar artery, then arcuate artery, and interlobar artery to supply the cortex. Now we see the interrelation of kidney with other structures. Anteriorly, the two kidneys have relation with different structures. The right kidney is anteriorly related to the liver, to the descending part of duodenum, and to the small intestine. And the left kidney is related anteriorly to the stomach, the spleen, and pancreas, and the jejunum. Now we see renal fascia, fat, and posterior relations of kidney. So this renal fat or perinephric fat completely surrounds the kidney, and this is formed by accumulation of extraperitoneal fat. This fat is known as perinephric fat. That perinephric fat is enclosed by renal fascia, which is a membranous condensation of the extraperitoneal fascia, and suprarenal glands or adrenal glands are enclosed in this fascial compartment, and they are separated from kidney by septum. So in order to access this organ, the renal fascia must be incised in any surgical approach. When you see the posterior relations of kidney to other structures, posteriorly the two kidneys are related to similar structures. Superiorly is the diaphragm, and inferior to this, the medial to lateral direction, also major muscle, quadratus lumborum, and transversus abdominis muscle. The superior pole of the right kidney is anterior to rib 12, but the same region or that superior pole of the left kidney is anterior to ribs 11 and 12. So this again indicates that the left kidney is somehow higher in location to the right kidney. Costodiaphragmatic recess extend posterior to the kidneys, and there are also these subcostal nerves and vessels in the hypogastric, and the inguinal nerves are also related posteriorly to the kidney. Now we see ureters, which are muscular tubes that transport urine from the kidneys to the bladder, and this ureter is formed when the renal pelvis narrows as it passes inferiorly through the hilum of the kidney, and it becomes continuous with the ureter at a junction known as uretero-pelvic junction. So these ureters descend retroperitoneally on the medial accept of the psoas major muscle. The blood supply to this ureter, the upper end of the ureter is supplied by the renal arteries. The middle part may receive branches from abdominal aorta or testicular or ovarian arteries, or it can be from the commonly-like arteries. In the pelvic cavity, the ureters are supplied by one or more arteries from branches of the internal iliac arteries. So this is the gross structure of the ureter and this bleed supply. So as the ureter descends down, we see it is coarse. It crosses the end of the common iliac or beginning of the external iliac artery and enters the pelvic cavity. At 3 points along the course, the ureters are constricted. So these are potential signs of obstruction. The first point is at the uretero-pelvic junction, where it leaves from the kidney. And the second point is where the ureters cross these common iliac vessels at the pelvic bridge. The third point is where the ureters enter the wall of the bladder because they enter through these detractor muscles that form the wall of the bladder. The other organ located together with the kidneys are these renal or suprarenal glands, which also have outer cortex and inner medulla. The right gland is pyramidal in shape and the left gland is semilunar in shape. The left gland, as you can see here, is larger than the right, and anterior to the right suprarenal gland is a part of the right of liver and also the inferior renal cava. But anterior to the left suprarenal gland is a part of the stomach, the pancreas and the spleen, as we already saw while dealing with the posterior relation of the kidney, anterior relation of the kidney. Parts of the diagram are also found posterior to both glands, both right and left adrenal glands. The outer cortex is glandular tissue, but the inner medulla is part of sympathetic nervous tissue. This outer cortex or glandular tissue secretes this hormone aldosterone, but the inner part secretes these catecholamines. So they are part of sympathetic nervous system. So when you see the arterial supply of these glands, as the bilateral inferior phrenic arteries pass upward from the abdominal aorta to the diaphragm, they give off multiple branches, superior suprarenal arteries to supply the suprarenal glands, but the middle branch that supplies the middle part of this suprarenal gland directly arises from the abdominal aorta in most people. The inferior branches that supply the inferior or the lower end of this gland arise from the renal arteries. Then we'll talk about the venous drainage of these glands. On the right side, the right suprarenal vein is short and almost immediately enters the inferior vena cava here. But on the left side, the left suprarenal vein is somehow longer and it passes inferiorly to enter the left renal vein. Now we have completed the gross anatomy of the kidney. Now we see the histology of the kidney. So when we talk about the histology of kidney, we talk about the nephron, which is the basic functional unit of the kidney. That's, the nephron is composed of the renal corpuscle and renal tubules. And in each human kidney, there are 1 up to 1.5 million nephrons. Total length of a nephron is approximately 45 up to 65 millimeter. So given the fact that in each kidney we have about 1.5 million nephrons, so the total length of the nephron tubing per kidney is about 44 miles. It's amazing. So we see the different components of the nephron and their principal role. The renal corpuscle is involved in the production and collection of glomerular factors because the renal corpuscle is where the glomeruli is located that filters the plasma, so it produces the filtrate. And once the filtrate is produced, it's collected in the Bowman's capsule that's still inside the renal corpuscle. Then we have proximal convoluted tubule that reabsorbs water, proteins, amino acids, carbohydrates, and glucose. Most of these substances are completely reabsorbed, like amino acids and glucose are completely reabsorbed in the proximal convoluted tubule. Then the loop of Henle is involved in creation of hypertonic environments in medulla. The distal convoluted tubule, which is involved in maintaining the acid-base balance and the water balance by absorbing water, sodium and bicarbonate by excreting potassium and hydrogen ions. This distal convoluted tubule maintains acid-base and water balance. So the renal corpuscle is composed of Bowman's capsule and glomerulus. These renal corpuscles are the balloon part of nephron. Glomerulus is fenestrated capillary that lacks diaphragm, and the space within the corpuscle is known as Bowman's space. This Bowman's space is covered with double layer, the visceral and parietal layer. And we have cells known as podocytes that form the visceral layer of this Bowman's capsule. And these cells form primary process, which in turn gives secondary process known as pedicels. The renal corpuscles are supplied by an afferent arteriole and they are drained by an efferent arteriole. But an important thing to note here is that the basal lamina of glomerulus endothelium completely fuses with podocytes. So here we have different cells. The mesangial cells control the filtration rates. They provide structural support and they remove debris by phagocytosis. When you see the glomerular filtrate, the blood flow in the two kidneys of an adult amounts to 1.2 up to 1.3 liters of blood per minute. This means that all the circulating blood in the body passes through the kidneys very for up to 5 minutes because the bleed of an adult is about 4 up to 5 milliliter. So all the circulating blood passes through the kidney every 4 up to 5 minutes. The glomeruli are composed of arterial capillaries in which the hydrostatic pressure is about 45 mm of mercury is higher than that found in other capillaries. And the filtrate is formed in response to this pressure, the hydrostatic pressure inside the glomerular capillary. But this pressure is opposed or contracted by osmotic pressure of the plasma colors and also the hydrostatic pressure of the fluids in Bowman's capsule, the already filtered fluid. Thus in the Bowman's capsule also opposes this process of filtration, and the net filtration pressure at the afferent end of glomerular capillaries is calculated as 45 minus 20 minus 10. Then we get 15 mm of mercury.